Hello and welcome to Ask Amanda Now. This is our short Friday afternoon session where I can answer at least one Strata question that has been asked by one of our followers, listeners, watchers, community members earlier in the week, or in response to one of our call outs that we have put out here on our Facebook page. How are you all doing today? Now, I say that our Ask Amanda Now sessions are our shorter sessions when I don't necessarily have a full hour to spend with you on a Friday afternoon, but I want to be here. I want to say hi. I want to check in. I want to see how you are, and to the extent I can, answer a question, or maybe today two, for you. Now, I know you always like to know where I am. I am at home. I'm sitting out in our back room, sunroom, if you like, kind of escaping the Friday afternoon craziness that goes on in there with little people and little canines as well. So we'll see how we go. They may come bursting in, making a cameo soon enough. There's lots of you here live for our Ask Amanda Now session. We are going out live to the Your Strata Property Facebook page. We're also heading out to LinkedIn and out to YouTube. If you are coming on in, feel free to give me a hello here in the comments. I'll see those comments coming through. I'd love to say hi to you. We do have an excellent question this week, and from the emails that have been coming through to my inbox, this topic seems to have struck a chord with many of you. Some follow-up questions coming through and some follow-up comments that I would like to share with you today on this topic. And as long as things remain comfortable here, we don't get too many interruptions, I might dive into another great question that has been asked as well. Two for one today. All righty, you are coming on in saying hi. I am going to just say hello back if I can. Susan is here saying hi. Hey Susan, how you doing? Andrew is here saying, hey Amanda, thanks for addressing this topic. Yeah, it is a hot one indeed. Q Poodle is here saying, hi Amanda, haven't seen you for a little while. Q Poodle, good to see you. Megan is here tuning in through LinkedIn saying happy Friday to you too, Megan. Denise is here saying, hi, Amanda. Hi, Denise. Excellent. If you're coming in and you want to say hi, go for it. I have had my head deep in a lot of client work this week, few deadlines, a couple of tribunal appearances. And part of the reason I don't have a full hour for you today is I've got to duck back into that world and make sure I get a few loose ends tied up before the weekend. That's just how the life of a strata lawyer goes sometimes. But as I said, I do like to make sure I have whatever opportunity I can, even if it's just 10 minutes, 15 minutes, to come on in here and say hi and give you some guidance, strata guidance, where I can. Lots more questions, not so much questions, hellos coming on in. Judy is saying hello, great to see you here, Judy. Bridget is also saying, hi Amanda, this is a topic that seems to affect all communities at some point. Interesting, Bridget. Well, we may have to, depending on how we go today, we may have to set aside some more time, maybe a podcast episode, maybe a chat with Rena Van Alst in her capacity as a strata manager about how she may deal with this topic. Some of you may be guessing, what is this topic? If you didn't see my email earlier today or the post on the page, we might have a few hints here on the video description. David is here saying hi from Neutral Bay. Helen is saying hi. Shana is saying hi from Coffs Harbour, and Petra is here. Great. Everybody's here, present and accounted for. Well, this is our Ask Amanda Now question for today. It comes from Susan, and Rochelle is helping me out here in the background. She's going to pop it up on our screen. This is a summary. I've got a little bit more info from Susan, which I will deliver for you if I can. Susan's summarized question is, can committee members be stood down for bad behavior? Is there a law that they are breaking? Now, what Susan had sent to me in a message on our Facebook page was that in her complex, there is a strata committee member who is extremely aggressive Susan's words, and is having a particular argument with one resident about one issue. I won't reveal too much to protect identities here. And that has caused Susan to ask this question. As a committee member, can this person be stood down for their aggressive, bad behaviour? Is there a law that this committee member is breaking when they act this way? Some follow-ups that Susan has sent through to me since asking that question, an update. Apparently there's been a lot of complaints about this behaviour. The committee member in question won't respond to emails about this issue. So I understand Susan's community has tried to engage with the committee member about this behaviour. And unfortunately, there are now some other committee members who are joining in on this bad behaviour. So the aggressive ones, Susan now tells me, is 3 out of 4. 3 out of 4 committee members are engaging in this behaviour. So really unfortunate to hear that, Susan, and I'm sorry, first up, that you're going through this. As you've seen here on the page, and I've seen in my inbox, you're not alone. This sadly is something that happens in our communities sometimes. So it's great to be armed with some information, some strategies, some ideas for how to deal with it. So thank you for asking the question. I received an email in my inbox from Andrew, who said that this is definitely a topic that he had contemplated reaching out to me about, no doubt asking if we could cover it here in a live or on a podcast. And Andrew's given a different slant to the issue, given a reference to certain committee members whose bad behaviour might be impacting on the mental health of building managers, of contractors, and of other residents and other committee members. So we do, when we're in our communities, have a broad range of people who are involved with us, not just our neighbours, our fellow owners, but the professionals who are working with us as well, strata managers, building managers, and that's just what gives our world its complex layers, definitely. So an important topic. I have spoken on the podcast previously about what I'm going to term generally as bad behaviour. Some people use the term difficult residents or difficult people, and I appreciate that can sometimes be a bit objectionable to be called a difficult person, but bad behaviour and poor communication styles. So there are a couple of podcast episodes. Once again, I am surprising Rochelle with reference to podcast episodes and links that we haven't previously set up to share here with you. So I'll come back and post the links to those podcast episodes here in the comments for you so you can check them out, all about how we might improve communications more generally. But let's have a look at this question about bad behaviour on the part of committee members. What can we do about it? Is there a law that they're breaking? Well, those of you who are in New South Wales, it's important to be aware that in our New South Wales legislation, there is a section that sets out quite clearly what the duty of Strata committee members is. And that's in section 37 of our Strata Schemes Management Act. And it says that it's the duty of each member of a Strata committee of an owners corporation to carry out their functions for the benefit, so far as practicable, of the owners corporation with due care and diligence. So a Strata committee member must carry out their functions for the benefit of the owners corporation. That should always be front of mind. What's in the best interest of the owners corporation? Am I carrying out my functions for the benefit of the owners corporation? Am I acting with due care and diligence? Now, I'd say if a committee member is bullying other owners, other residents, harassing, threatening, intimidating other residents, not responding to communications, not attending meetings, going AWOL, as I know some committee members do. I've certainly had that experience, sadly, in my community. I'm the secretary on my committee, and sometimes not everybody is as engaged as others. Are they carrying out their duties for the benefit of the owners corporation as a whole and with due care and diligence? Probably not if they're engaging in that kind of behaviour, and they may be in breach of section 37 of the Strata Schemes Management Act. Now, as I think we've heard from Susan today in asking this question and giving me some background, it sounds like her community has tried to communicate with this particular committee member, or now a group, unfortunately, I hear. So top of my list is always to communicate, attempt to communicate with the person who is engaging in this poor behaviour. Some people are going to be better equipped I understand, I know, to do that than others, to knock on the door, to pick up the phone, to have a conversation, a difficult conversation at a meeting, to explain to this committee member the impact that their behaviour is having on others in the community, on the committee, on the strata manager, on the building manager, to have that conversation and seek to engage some empathy, if it exists, on the part of that difficult committee member. Of course, hard to do when you're already dealing with somebody who is behaving badly, but at least making those attempts, I think, to open the lines of communication is important. Some committees do ask me about, and some very well-functioning committees have in place, a code of conduct for their committee members, because they accept, appreciate, know that the limited duty that is set out in our legislation, Section 37, doesn't quite give a lot of detail about what it is to carry out functions in the best interests of the owners corporation, or to act with due care and diligence. So a document like Code of Conduct can specify functions, duties, obligations in more detail, and be given to new committee members when they join the committee, or indeed be made a condition of acceptance of a nomination and condition for being elected to the committee. Some buildings do that, require committee members to sign a code of conduct, to agree to comply with a code of conduct if they're going to be on the committee. Now, is that legal? Can we do that? Can we force people to sign up to a code of conduct? I think if you've made a bylaw, if you've made a bylaw that says this is what we require of our committee members, that is a bylaw that goes to other owners' use, regulating other owners and occupiers' use and enjoyment of the common property. It's making sure that our management of the common property of the owners' corporation operates smoothly. I think it's a valid bylaw. I don't think it's harsh, unconscionable, or oppressive. It's in the best interests of the owners corporation. So if you are going to have a code of conduct, it's something that you're thinking about, think about a bylaw that goes hand in hand with that, that requires committee members to comply with, to sign up to the code of conduct. And then when there's bad behaviour, when there's a breach of the code of conduct, then you've got something to fall back on that's a little bit more real world, that's a little bit more practical than perhaps this legalese that is in our legislation in Section 37 about duties of strata committee members. You might have a provision that if the code of conduct is not complied with, then there is an avenue for a resignation to be called for, that a strata committee member in breach of a code of conduct may be requested by the committee to resign from their position. You have to have a think about the precise wording of indeed your code of conduct and then your bylaw that incorporates that. But I do know there are many communities out there who are finding that helpful. An invitation to resign generally as part of this communication, reference to a code of conduct. Sometimes people do just want to be let off the hook. What they signed up for is not quite what they expected, or they expected something different to what's now being required of them as a committee member. So having other committee members say, hey, it's okay if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're feeling like this is all too much for you, it may be in the best interest of the owners corporation that you do actually resign from your position, and you're free to then do what it is that needs your attention in your personal life. Clearly, you've got a lot on your plate at the moment, and it might be that there's someone else in the community who would be better placed to take up that position as a committee member. So somebody can vacate their position as a committee member if they resign, and maybe they just need that tap on the shoulder, that invitation to do so. Certainly we have provision in our New South Wales legislation to vote off the island a committee member. So that is required by way of special resolution passed at a general meeting. So if your owners all come together in general meeting and pass a special resolution vacating a committee member's position, then that position is vacated. So in our worst case scenarios where we have a really difficult committee, this may be your scenario here, Susan, trying to campaign to your other owners, bring it to their attention that this is what is happening. These are the difficulties that I'm facing as perhaps one of the sole committee members who's being bullied, who's being ganged up on, who is trying to act in the best interests of the owners corporation but can't because of these other agendas that are not in the best interests of the owners corporation. Communicating that to your fellow owners and proposing a motion at a general meeting that a position be vacated. That is definitely possible. That with a special resolution that a committee member can be voted out, voted off. A committee member can also be removed by order of the tribunal. Now, I get consulted a fair bit about this. Amanda, we've tried all of that. We're dealing with a really difficult person or group of people here, and we can't see this getting any better. What can the tribunal do? We do have a section in our New South Wales Act, section 238, that the tribunal can order the removal from office of a Strata committee member. And that section sets out the grounds on which the tribunal can do that. If they find that the committee member has failed to comply with the Act, with the regulations, with the bylaws of the Strata scheme, or they have failed to exercise due care and diligence, have engaged in serious misconduct while holding office, then the tribunal can order their removal from the position of Strata committee member. A lot of owners get excited about this section and come to me and say, Amanda, section 238, I've read it, I know it, I've heard about it, I want to go to the tribunal, I want to seek this order. Those lawyers who tune in, Strata managers, those who are living and breathing this stuff, reach out to me and let me know. But I have never seen a successful section 238 application, at least not reported, and not one that I've been involved in. I've seen the applications made, I've read some of the decisions, but it is a very, very hard order to get. So if you think you're going to trundle off to the tribunal and get an order for the removal of a committee member, I think to be successful, the behaviour has to be really quite bad. And you have to have tried. I would be suggesting that you've tried those other methods of attempting to have the general meeting pass a special resolution to remove this person, certainly of inviting that person's resignation. And you would need a fair whack of evidence, I think, to be able to successfully obtain one of those orders. Now, I'm seeing lots and lots of comments come through, maybe discussion. It is here over in our comment section. I am just going to head over there to see if I should, it's always dangerous, dip into those comments. Janara's here saying hi, hello. Emiliana's here saying love this topic. Susan saying, unfortunately, 3 of the 4 committee members have been aggressive. Yes. Janara saying, in our case, we have 3 or 4 members have self-appointed themselves to be on the committee. Thank you for those links, Rochelle. Cheryl saying, 1 member of the committee caused us to lose tradespeople and our Strata manager. I'm just scrolling down. John's got a bully. Helen saying, okay, sorry, diving into a discussion there. I might leave that one. All right, so yes, a lot of experience, it seems, from many of you with these difficult situations. When I have clients coming to me to try asking for my help to assist them in resolving these situations, my first question is often, how big is your building? How many owners have you got? How many owner occupiers have you got? Who's on site? If you're on site and you're dealing with these problems every day, who else is on site there where you can go and knock on the door and you can have a conversation about these difficulties? Because I think often some of us suffer in silence. Some of us as committee members carry out our roles very diligently, very properly, but we do it without anybody knowing what it is that we're doing, without our fellow owners understanding all the work that we have, everything we have on our plate, and indeed when things go wrong, owners not understanding that you're trying to put out fires, sometimes on a daily basis. And often the first step to obtaining help, to obtaining support, is to be sharing with your fellow owners what it is that's going on and trying to obtain their support. And when you have their support, then you can start putting in place that democratic process of putting motions to meetings and trying to affect change through that democratic process. I appreciate that in the most dysfunctional communities, that is not always possible, that it's not possible to solve problems through the democratic process. Maybe the bully is too powerful, the bullying group is too powerful, has too much say, and that is where we do need to start turning to legal avenues and involving potentially the tribunal. And hopefully I've given you some direction there with some references to those sections, relevant sections in our Strata Schemes Management Act. Just heading back here to some more comments. Andrew is here. I'll just bring this one up on the screen, I think. Andrew's comment has just disappeared. Andrew is saying the problem that we have is that the difficult committee member has managed to pressure owners into giving over proxy votes for AGM and Strata committee meetings. So the difficulty in raising with the committee is that she holds an amount of authority that's difficult to outvote. Yes, and that's where attempting to have these conversations, attempting to get to owners and those who are giving their proxy votes, attempting to communicate with them before they hand over those proxies to say, hey, you may not realize, but this is what's actually going on here. And if you'd like to have a say in change and to make sure that we can act in the best interest of the owners corporation and not be derailed by this difficult behavior, then please come to the meeting. Please come to the meeting yourself, and please don't blindly hand over your proxy. Please come and be part of the discussion. Once again, appreciate that that doesn't always fly and that you may need to be looking to alternative avenues there. Now, see, I told you this was a 10-minute segment. Not quite. I think we're at 20 plus minutes at the moment. Now we might just, Rochelle, I'm just going to remove that question from the screen. I think I've done that. I wanted to dive very quickly into another question, different topic that was raised by Carolyn Ann, who was here. I think, Carolyn, you might have posted this one under my request, my fireside chat photo. You'll notice I'm not by the fire right now, not quite cold enough to get the fire on yet. But Carol Ann posted under that picture a question about two-lot strata plans, acknowledging that my podcast this week was all about two-lot strata plans. What's so scary about two-lot plans? And look at that, Rochelle has a banner ready for us here on the screen with Carolyn's question. Amanda, you mentioned two-lot stratas in a podcast. What if a strata plan has 4 lots and one owner has 3 lots and one owner has 1? What applies then? Great question, Carolyn. And I have a bit of a feeling that maybe these topics are linked. Bully committee members, let's call it, and buildings where we have majority ownership in one owner, in one particular owner. These things do sometimes go hand in hand. Carolyn, if in the podcast episode, I talked about legislative requirements and exemptions for two-lot schemes, they only apply to two-lot schemes. Doesn't matter if 3 out of 4 lots or the vast majority of lots are held in single ownership. It doesn't then put those smaller buildings into the same category as a two-lot scheme. So we don't have the same exemptions from the requirement for insurance and capital works funds that I talked about on the podcast. If you're talking about the difficulties with unit entitlement and voting, and where one particular owner can block decision making because of the unit entitlement split, then yes, absolutely, we have the same problems, the same concerns in 4-lot schemes where that's the case, and indeed in smaller communities where that's the case. It can become really difficult, sometimes not even in smaller communities. I'm working with a particular client at the moment. It's not a small community, but it just so happens that one corporate conglomerate owns quite a few lots, and it's hard to get decisions made that are in the best interests of residents in that community, rather than the more investor-minded corporate conglomerate. So definitely a difficult situation, and another type of community, I think, that often ends up before the tribunal as a last resort to try and get orders to ensure that the right things are happening at the right time. All right, now, as I said earlier, I do have to wrap up today. Our Ask Amanda Now has definitely gone for longer than one of these sessions would, but not quite as long as a Friday Live. I have to head back into some client work and some deadlines, but I want to acknowledge that there are always so many questions that come through in these sessions, and you guys see some of what comes through on the page here. I see a lot more that comes through to my inbox. So where I can pull out those short questions that I can answer in this time that give a lot of value to many people, then I'm going to pull those out and answer those for you. If I don't get to your question, if I haven't seen your question, if I can't answer your question fast enough, then the best place for you to be going to have your questions answered is our online membership community. So many of you here I know are members inside our online membership community, and I love seeing your names here and answering your questions, absolutely. But we have a forum. We have a members Q&A forum. And that is the place where you'll see me, our members see me most days, I think, in there answering questions for our members. And I can give you the detail, the type of detail that I can't necessarily give you in these live chats because I don't know the background, because I'm not able to answer you in writing, which is what I do in the forum, giving you all the links to legislation, the links to further resources and templates and other websites that may help you. All of that happens over in our members Q&A forum. So if you're a bit frustrated because Amanda hasn't got to my question and there's just too many and I need it answered now, then please do head over to stratamembership.com. That's the place to learn more about our membership, to find out what is going on over there, and to access our members only Q&A forum. You can access it immediately on joining up, and it's only $49 a month to join us inside the membership. So once you're signed up, jump in there and ask questions to your heart's content. You may even find that you search the forum and the answer will already be there. The forum has been running for about 6 years now, so it is a huge knowledge database, completely searchable, organized into categories as well. So you can often find the answer to your question immediately without even posting it and waiting for me to come around and check it out for you. Lots more comments there coming through saying thank you. Thank you very much for your thank yous. Carolyn, you are here. Good to see you. And more questions, as always, coming through as well. So lovely to have your hellos, thank yous, and farewells. I will see you here next week in some form or another, from some location or another. We will have another chat next week for sure. And I'm wishing you all the best for a lovely Friday afternoon in Strata. I've got to get back to my desk. Have a great weekend, everybody. Bye-bye.